Welcome to this brief introduction to how to use the Czech corpus for helping you learn Czech. So I am on the website Korpus.cz, and what I'm seeing here is this search field that I can type something in. Above it, it says Slovovkostce, which if I look that up, it would literally mean word in a queue, which is a bit strange. But if I click over here up in the top right hand corner on English, that will give me the interface in Czech, and it will also tell me that Slovovkostce is an idiom, and that means word at a glance. And so I can type any Czech word in it, and it will tell me information about it. But before I do that, I just want to scroll down and see what else I can find out here. So first thing, I can find out what a corpus is, and essentially it tells me here that a corpus is an electronic collection of actual real texts that have been collected from all over the Czech world, the internet, but also published material. And it tells me that the written part is more than 4 billion words. Or they say tokens, but that really just means words in corpus speak. And there's also a spoken language corpus, and that is more than 7 million words. And so that actually is quite a lot for me to get some useful information about these words. So let's type in a word. It doesn't just have to be a word, it can be any form of a word that I came across. So I came across Praze, and I'm wondering what that means. So I'm going to click in search. And this is what I'm going to find out. So first it's going to tell me that Praze is a form of Praha, which is a noun, and I know Praha is Prague. And it tells me how, here on the left-hand side, it tells me how frequent it is, so it's quite a common word. This is how many words per million. But what's even more interesting, it shows me all the different forms of the word that show up in those billions of words in the corpus from all the different texts. And so I see Praha is by far the most frequent, but there's also Praze and Prahy. And if I want to know what they compare, I can click on this little grid over here, and it's going to tell me that actually only these top three forms, Praha, Praze, Prahy, are actually of any use to me. So even though there are so many different forms of the word Praha, I really only need to focus on these top three. Here on the left-hand side also tells me which sort of text it appears in, but that perhaps isn't that useful. Now, if I scroll down, I'm going to get some more information. It's going to show me collocations, and collocations essentially mean the sorts of words that often appear near the word that I'm searching for. And we're going to see more about them soon, but essentially I see that centrum is quite a common word that occurs next to Prague, and if I hover over it, it's going to also highlight on the right-hand side the sentence in which I can find it. So that's just a quick useful thing. We're going to have a look at collocations when we search for other words. But if I scroll down even more, I'm going to see these similarly used words, and it's going to show me other words that are used kind of the same way as Prague. Now this thing sometimes is more reliable than others, but here I'm seeing that yes, Brno, Ostrava, Liberec, Plzeň, Pardubice, Olomouc, those are all very common words for big Czech cities, and so they're quite likely worth finding out about and learning how to use them. So that's just a quick introduction when I search for Prague. So let's search for another Czech word. For example, let's go for voda this time. That is the noun for water. And I'm going to search, and it's going to again show me that it's a bit less frequent than Prague, perhaps, but it's going to show me some more word forms here. And again, I'm going to have to worry about which of these should I learn. So I'm going to click on the grid, and I'm seeing that the dictionary form voda isn't even the most frequent. So actually, the most frequent is vody, and then followed by voda and vodu. And so pretty much these top three are the ones that I should be focusing on learning. Again, I don't necessarily have to care too much about which sorts of language this word is used in. And then I'm going to go see what are the collocations, and I'm going to again see some very useful words here. And I have to decide which ones to learn. So I'm going to click on the grid, and I'm going to see this sequence, and I'm going to see the top three words related to voda are tepli, studený, pitný, and if I look them up, I know it's warm, cold, and potable or drinkable. But I can actually do even better. I can click on this little grid here and choose which part, which side of the word the collocation is from. So I can choose if this is from either left or right, but if I can just choose what are the words that most often appear before the word voda, and I'm going to see that these are just the adjectives that I want to know. If I want to look on the right, see what words appear after the word voda, then I'm going to see that, for example, this could be řeka, kohoutek, and things like that. So different kinds of words, and they may be again useful. Now, if I scroll down, look at the similarly used words, I perhaps am not finding quite as useful words to explore, but again, that's perhaps also interesting to know. Now, one more thing that I'm going to get here on this page is that I'm going to get some examples from spoken language. So if I scroll down, I see how different people use this. Again, this is not that useful for the word voda, but most importantly, I'm going to get an example of somebody using the word voda. And if I click on the little...
Na mrazu teďka objevili, víš, že tam je voda?
So somebody's talking about them finding water on Mars, and so what that's giving me an example of an actual Czech person, a real conversation, spontaneous conversation that was recorded for this purpose, saying the word voda. And so that really is again a very useful thing. I can click on play all and get the whole conversation going, even though the voda is only a part of it. And if I wanted to find out more examples of people speaking, I could follow up on here, but for that I would have to register, which is free, and find a bit more about how to use the corpus. So we'll look at that in another video. So this is the word at a glance option here. There's also an option to compare words, which is kind of more for research, but that could be useful, but also search into languages and translate, and we're going to look at that, how to use actually the specialist tool Trek in the next video.